Welcome to episode 92. In this episode, we are going to discuss how resentment is preventing you from living an abundant life and 2 ways to release it. Welcome to the Abundance Hack Show, where we are inspiring you to tap into your power to manifest the happiness, success, and fulfillment that you desire. I am your host, Niajae, the Upper Limit Coach. I am here to dismantle your limiting beliefs and remove the blocks so you can confidently live your life's purpose, because life is meant to be abundant. Hey M&Ms, thank you for tuning into the Abundance Hack Show. What are you manifesting in your life today? If you are joining me for the first time, I want to explain something. Although M&Ms are really yummy candies, M&Ms actually stands for Magical Manifestors, because we are manifesting by default. And if you are listening to this podcast, that means that you want to manifest abundance. So this episode is actually about resentment, because resentment prevents abundance. So let's dive into today's topic. So what exactly is resentment? It's a bitter feeling towards someone who you feel has treated you badly, unfair, or wrong. Usually, resentment is sparked by public humiliation, discrimination, prejudice, being taken advantage of, feeling unrecognized, or jealousy or envy. So why is this important? It's important because resentment is toxic. It's actually something that I have been doing a lot of inner work and still am doing a lot of work around it, because resentment is a little tricky. It's woven into our patterns and our habits, and a lot of times we don't notice it unless we're going through some type of self-development, personal growth, personal mastery, to where we're really focused on self-awareness to realize our patterns that are contributing to this toxic feeling of resentment. If you are trying to manifest abundance in your life and you're trying to draw in joy and happiness and fulfillment and passion and excitement and love, and you are resentful, that's actually a low vibration. So it creates wobble in your vibration as you're trying to draw in these high vibrational things. So being resentful is actually working against you if you're trying to manifest anything high vibe into your life. So let's take a look at some areas in life where people are typically resentful. So the first thing is our parents. This is super common, and it's typically from a parent not providing love, support, or a certain thing in life that would have made life a little more comfortable for us. So, my parents didn't pay for me to go to college, or my parents didn't buy me this Barbie house when all the other girls had this Barbie house and I felt left out. So we actually harbor a lot of resentment towards our parents. Or if you had an absent dad, sometimes even people who have lost their parents are resentful towards them because they weren't there. So resentment can be very tricky and very deep rooted, which is why I say I've been doing a lot of work, because there's layers, like really getting to the core of your resentment. But it's so powerful when you do. And since I've been doing the work, I see how it has positively affected my life. Like, things are happening and shifting because I've released a lot of the resentment that I was harboring, especially, and I talk about this in my Daddy Issues podcast episode. I had to release a lot of resentment. So really take a moment and ask yourself, do I have any resentment towards my parents? And the next area is partners. So this is huge as well. And I know for me personally, when I'm dating, I have my deal breakers up front, because I believe, like, we'll just take children for example. It's really difficult to date someone who wants children if you don't want children, or who doesn't want children if you want children, because if one or the other bends to accommodate their partner, that usually, I want to say almost always, leads to resentment. So with partners, it typically is around someone giving up something big for their partner. And obviously there's tons of reasons why in a romantic relationship people are feeling resentful, but I feel like that's the biggest one. So someone giving up their career to raise a family, or someone moving somewhere far and leaving their family and friends and what's known to them behind for their partner. These big changes can lead to resentment if things don't work out and they're all sunshine and rainbows, which we know most relationships aren't sunshine and rainbows all the time. So the second that something is going wrong or not what a person expected, that is what triggers that resentment. So personally, I feel like with romantic relationships, if it's possible to have your deal breakers up front, so like if you're willing to move or not willing to move. I actually dated someone in the Army, for example, and they were being relocated somewhere, and I was like, I'm not going. I'm not going. Like, that place, like, I will definitely be resentful if I have to live there. So, we have to be really honest with ourselves about how we get into situations that lead to resentment, because a lot of times if you're self-aware or if you think things through, I'm very analytical, so I think everything through. It's kind of one of those things where it's a blessing and a curse. But if you think things through, can this lead to resentment if it doesn't work out how I planned? Am I willing to take this chance? And these are really thought-provoking questions that I feel like before making big decisions or fully committing to a person, you should consider. The next area resentment tends to show up is friendships. This can be based around jealousy, envy, or in my specific case, because I'm honest with you, it can be based around unspoken expectations. So I'm someone that has really high standards for the people in my life, and I know in the past I didn't always communicate my expectations or my desires, and when people didn't do the things, I would become resentful. Now, I know it's really unfair because everyone processes different. Everyone has different expectations. Everyone has different thought processes and want different things. So I had to learn, just because this is what I would want in this situation, it doesn't mean this is what the next person will want. So in order for me to get this, I have to communicate that it's what I desire and it's what I prefer. And so that was a really powerful lesson. And I actually want to share a huge paradigm shift for me. So it's based around a quote that everyone has heard. Everyone grew up on this quote, but I had a huge paradigm shift and it was a game changer for me. So I know everyone's heard, treat others how you want to be treated. No. No, because the reality is we want to be treated differently. So I will give you an example. I'm an extrovert. I love people. I love to talk to people. I love to be around people. So if I'm going through something, I would prefer for someone to be there for me. I would prefer for my friends to check on me nonstop. Like, that is my preference. Someone else that may be an introvert may not want you to check on them nonstop. They may want their space and they want to deal with it on their own. So if I treated them how I want to be treated, I would bug them. I would bug the shit out of them if I'm constantly checking on them and I'm constantly like, hey, are you okay? Do you need anything? Like, that may really annoy them. So don't treat others how you want to be treated. You have to treat others how they want to be treated. And the only way you'll find out how they want to be treated is if you communicate, is if you ask, if you open up and start that dialogue. And same thing for you. The only way people are going to know how you prefer to be treated is if you communicate your needs and your desires. So really powerful paradigm shift. And I definitely invite you to go back and listen to that again, because it's some reprogramming. Because we've all heard that term, treat others how you want to be treated. A lot of people base their life off of that quote and base their actions off of that quote, when in reality we should treat others how they want to be treated. So if you've researched like love languages, for example, if my love language is acts of service but your love language is words of affirmation, am I going to treat you how I want to be treated and only do acts of service because that's my preference? No, I'm going to learn your love language so I can speak to you how you perceive love and support. So really, really powerful paradigm shift there. The next area resentment tends to show up is with teachers and bosses. So this could be around humiliation, discrimination, prejudice. If you were in school and you felt like a teacher was really hard on you or picked on you or embarrassed you in front of the class, and the same thing with bosses, or you feel like someone received a promotion over you. So these are things that can lead to resentment. There's always multiple perspectives we can take on any situation. So with a teacher or professor, you can always shift the narrative to they're harder on me because they see potential in me. Or with a situation where someone received a promotion and you didn't, you can always say, well, there's a better opportunity out there for me, or this person actually deserved it, and not become resentful because, again, resentment is toxic. Have you ever thought, who am I to write a book, start a podcast, or create an online course? Have you ever been hesitant to share your gifts with the world because you were afraid of what people would say or think? It is time to stop hiding your magic from the world. Go to Niajae.com/decadent to download the 6 steps to a decadent you so you can gain clarity around your purpose, have courage to stand in your truth, build confidence to step into your power, and shine your light bright unapologetically. Go to Niajae.com/decadent so you can take the steps towards thriving in your fullest expression. The next area resentment shows up is with the opposite sex. So this is around dating. And I feel like this one is so self-explanatory because I hear so many horror stories when it comes to dating. I have my own horror stories when it comes to dating, and it can put you in a place where you're blaming dating apps and you're blaming men or you're blaming women, and you just become really resentful and bitter, and that is not going to attract the love, the date, the passion that you desire. So you have to really pay attention to your energy. If you're someone that's like, oh, women only want blah 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 blah, that energy is attracting that thing that you are bitter or resentful about. So really being aware of that. Same thing with women. If you feel like, you know, men only want this and men are this and blah blah blah, you're attracting that. So that is why I say, like, resentment literally stops abundance. It stops the magical things that we are trying to draw to us into our reality. And the last area I want to mention that resentment shows up in is life in general. People that feel like life is unfair. So to me, that's a very resentful statement. Life is unfair. So if you feel like, I'm always getting the shorter end of the stick, and don't get me wrong, I've been there. I felt that before. And I have such a fabulous life. So I look back now and I'm like, why did I feel that way? But it's really important that you shift your perspective. It's really important that you shift that narrative, because if you believe that, again, that is what you are going to attract. That is what you're going to manifest. So if you believe, I always get the shorter end of the stick, I have bad luck, life is so unfair, life is hard, that is what you are going to attract to you. And it creates a lot of resentment. Oh, if all these bad things didn't keep happening to me, I would be in a better situation. I'd have more money. I'd have a better relationship. I'd be in better health. So when you start blaming things, that's when the resentment bubbles up. So it's really, really important that you're aware of that. Resentment is basically like holding a grudge. And you know, they say holding a grudge is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. So the more resentful you allow yourself to become, the more you are poisoning yourself. So don't be a slave to resentment. The stronger the resentment is, the more time and energy you spend focusing on it. And it basically is a form of mental, spiritual, and emotional bondage. And that's not the kind of bondage that we like. So don't be a slave to resentment. It literally is blocking the abundance. If you realize you've been harboring resentment, how exactly do we release it? Two ways. The first way is forgiveness. Forgiveness is so powerful. I actually spoke about a forgiveness exercise called Ho'oponopono in a previous episode, and it's so extremely powerful. And just a reminder, forgiveness doesn't mean you have to let this person back in your life or in your heart and allow them to maybe hurt you again. It doesn't mean that. It basically is you energetically releasing the resentment, releasing the pain, releasing anything that doesn't feel good, and sending that person light. You're sending them light. You don't have to, and not all resentment means that the person is not in your life, because obviously if you have a partner or parent, they're still in your life. But literally doing forgiveness exercises to yourself. You don't have to tell them, oh, I'm doing Ho'oponopono with you. If you are able to do it to for yourself, it will energetically clear the tension between you two, and you will see it in the relationship or in the situation. It's so extremely powerful. So I invite you to really take a good look at where you may be harboring resentment towards who, and take a moment to forgive them and forgive yourself. And then send them love, send them good vibes. And the second way to release resentment is through gratitude. And if you've been listening to this podcast, you know I am a huge advocate for gratitude. Gratitude checks, write gratitude lists, have a gratitude journal, however you have to do it. Wake up every morning and say thank you. Gratitude is the best way to release resentment. So if it's a specific situation, rather than thinking about how this person did you wrong, think about what they've done that's right. This works really well with romantic relationships. If you are resentful towards your partner, rather than focusing on all the things they're doing wrong, write out a list of everything that they're doing right. Write out a list of reasons why you love them and why they make you laugh and why they make you feel all warm and fuzzy inside, and it will shift the energy. So you can do this exercise with really anyone in your life, your parents, your friends. It's a really powerful exercise that will, again, release that tension and energetically make things better. And if nothing else, it raises your vibration, so you are able to manifest faster. The higher you vibrate, the faster you manifest the things that you actually desire. But resentment causes you to be in that low vibe place where you're blocking anything magical from coming into your reality. So if resentment is standing in your way of manifesting the love and the joy and the happiness and the success and the excitement and the passion that you desire, I have a special offer today of a sound therapy bundle. So it's going to include 3 things. It's going to include an exercise that's inspired by fear inventory. So if you haven't heard of it, it is basically something to just release our fears and release resentment. And that's a downloadable PDF. And then you will receive a Ho'oponopono recording where I am playing the sound bowls and also saying the Ho'oponopono phrases. So I love you, please forgive me, I'm sorry, thank you. And I'm saying that so while you listen to this, you can imagine the person that you are resentful towards and send them light as you're listening to this recording that is playing the crystal sound bowl associated with that specific chakra for forgiveness. And then the third item is a sound therapy recording that's for forgiveness and gratitude. So there's no talking over this one, so you can just put it on, meditate, zone out, go into your theta state, and really raise your vibration to release that resentment and go into a higher vibration of gratitude, love, acceptance. and it is going to help you tap back into aligning with abundance. If you have a really good resentment story or how you overcame resentment, definitely share it on whatever platform you are tuning in from. And if you know someone that needs to hear this message where resentment is standing in their way of abundance and love and really enjoying life, then definitely share this message with them, because we all deserve abundance. We all deserve to live the life that we truly desire. So don't let something like resentment stand in your way. Until next time, M&Ms, be decadent. Thank you for tuning in to the Abundance Hack Show. I would love to hear from you. Leave your comments and questions, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any of our yummy episodes. Every time you leave a 5-star rating or review, I do my happy dance.